Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
Greetings, Algo artisans. Nick, aka the Algo Cowboy here, and we're going to take a look at what is going to be a little bit of an unpredictable week. We have Thanksgiving, we have data coming out. Before we get started though, please take a look in the description. There is a free algo. If you click on that, there's a video where I show you how I build an algo, show you how I translate that into code, and how I connect algos to the exchange so that the computer can trade for me while I am not at the computer. We're going to take a look at the usual suspects today. It's going to be the NASDAQ, USDJPY, EURUSD, Bitcoin, USD, CAD, AUD, USD, GBPJPY, and gold. We're talking about unpredictability. We have the PPI data coming out tomorrow early. We have the market close, and Thursday is going to be really quiet, which means for Bitcoin it could be really loud. What does that mean? We're going to get into it. But before we get too far, we're going to take a look at the economic data that is dropping this week over on forexfactory.com. All right, so today's pretty much over. Tomorrow morning, we have the PPI data and retail sales data coming out 8:30 a.m. EST. And then we have some Aussie and New Zealand data coming out 7:30 p.m. Aussie CPI, and 8:30 p.m. EST. We have the Royal Bank of New Zealand's monetary policy, cash rate, all that type of stuff from the central bank. Wednesday at 7:30 a.m. EST, we have the British autumn forecast statement. We've got 8:30 a.m. EST, the unemployment claims for the U.S. And then on Thursday is Thanksgiving. Banks are closed. Forex market will be open. Crypto will be open. And this is when things could get a little bit weird. What happens on holidays, especially with Bitcoin, when nobody's paying attention, large moves can happen. Doesn't mean they will, but sometimes they will. So we'll see what happens. And there's really not a way to predict it. There's really not a way to trade it, in my opinion, unless you're sitting at the computer. Personally, I will not be doing so. I will be with my loved ones celebrating Thanksgiving, so on and so forth. For Friday, the last bit of data coming out is at 8:30 a.m. EST, Canadian GDP. Again, I'll be off on Friday, not doing anything trading-wise, just going to be with loved ones. And I think most of the market is going to be pretty quiet. So this is a great week to just kind of hang back if you're able to do so. Okay, let's go ahead, jump into the charts, starting with the NASDAQ. Looking back at last Friday, 24,000 was defended, right? They defended 24,000, they being the buyers. It could mean a lot of things, but long story short, it's the buyers. Will it continue up? Will it go past 25,358, which is the local resistance? That's a really good question. It's a double resistance, couple of pivot points there, so price could easily reject and head down. Or if the PPI shows that inflation is cooling off, we might see a cool print and everything go up, because that would increase the odds of a rate cut. And with no CPI coming out this week, all the eyes will be on PPI. So this really could go either way. Price could just knock its head on 25,365 or so and head down, or it could actually break upwards. Although I think price would most likely break down, or at least kind of go sideways. That's the most likely thing, even though I drew that as a dotted line. Minus PPI data, that would be my primary thesis. But let's just say the PPI is cool, we'll see it head up. I don't think under any circumstance price will go above 25,830 by the end of the week, right? But anything after PPI is all like speculation. So I will go ahead and code this as a dotted line, and that's really hard to say what's going to happen. Again, there's more data coming out after that. It's a weird week. It is what it is. Let's take a look at USDJPY. Now, the JPY is bearish enough and the dollar is bullish enough to where I do expect this to just kind of head up. Now, depending on the PPI data, it might head up quicker or not. If, say, the PPI came out as a hot print, we might see this actually spike, but in the meantime, I think it's just going to grind up and to the right. Your lower bound at 156.173 for the local price, higher time frame lower bound at 155.750. I don't think price will go below 156.19, and your upper bound is going to be 157.90. Now, the USDJPY has been able to breach upper bounds, so if that is breached for some reason, whether it's PPI or just bullishness, then your next level is 158.87 for the USDJPY. I don't think we'll see it this week because things will slow down, but you never know. Let's take a look at the euro. Now, the PPI, let's just say the PPI were a cool print, meaning that inflation is going down. We might see this euro actually head up a bit, but under any circumstance, I don't expect it to go beyond the local support and resistance, the local bounds. And those bounds are 155.33 and on the lower side, 114.90. And while they could, I don't expect a lot out of this pair right now. Now that could change and the PPI could throw things off or employment data, whatever it might be. But given that the market's going to be either closed or just not paid much attention to this week, I wouldn't be surprised to see this just kind of go sideways and maybe knock its head on 150 and maybe knock its head on 155.25 or so. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, the true wild card. It was a nice move up, bouncing off 80,700. The bulls kicked in. Right about the time NASDAQ started to go up, Bitcoin was able to find its way into some bullishness. And we're going to see if that lasts. A lot of it's going to have to do with NASDAQ. If NASDAQ goes down, this will go down. If the NASDAQ goes up, this has the opportunity to go up or sideways or down or anything. NASDAQ right now seems to be more of a gravity pulling price down, not having quite as much effect on the price moving up, but allowing it to do so. I don't expect Bitcoin to go above 93,000. It very well could. It's very, very unpredictable this week. I will not be trading it. I'm just going to hang back. But if the algos were to be believed, then I'm looking at price probably ranging between 88,000 and 93,000 for the rest of the week. But man, this is an unpredictable pair. I wouldn't listen to any forecasts on it right now, given what's going on. And that's just how it is. Let's look at USD CAD. These two also are evening out. There's a bit of price discovery. The upper bound is 141.41. I don't think price is even going to get above the local upper of 141.30. And I think price is going to range sideways. Your local lower bound is 140.81. And I think it's just going to be ranging slow price action this week. Let's take a look at the Aussie. AUDUSD, I think you're going to see also some sideways action. PPI could spring it upwards, but if the PPI were not that eventful, price will probably go sideways for the rest of the week. Don't expect a whole lot out of it. Upper bound locally is 65 cents and lower bound is 64.21 with some support that's older at 64.41. Let's take a look at GBPJPY. Now this is bullish. Price may shoot up a lot more quickly than we expect, but if we're just watching the algos, we're either going to see price grind up and to the right with an upper bound at 206.85 or just go sideways. I don't think price is going to approach this lower bound, which is 204.26, and while it very well could, the only thing that might happen that's outside of my expectation is just a strong move up, and that's merely because the JPY is very weak right now. Let's take a look at gold. Gold holding well above 4,000. A lot of people thought it would head down. I did not, and price does seem to be continuing upwards. Price right now is at a local resistance of 41.37. I don't think that's going to hold. I think we'll see price break above that sooner than later. PPI may have something to do with that. Gold got dragged down as the NASDAQ started to fall because people were getting rid of their gold positions to cover their NASDAQ positions. That seems to be over. Gold is left to do what it's going to do, which I think is head up. The local upper bound is $4,246. Price may just rally way above that, but I think if the algos were to be believed, it's going to be somewhere between, say, 4,200 and 4,250 by the end of the week, if not higher. Thanks for watching. Over here at Algo Factory, what we do is we teach people how to predict where price is going to go and when it's going to go there. And if you have that kind of information, we can teach you how to extract money out of these markets. We have a lot of people who have gotten very comfortable holding their crypto, not doing anything, making money. I'm going to warn you that those times probably are over now, if not soon. So if you intend to make money in the markets in the next year or two, especially if you are a crypto trader, you're probably going to do one of two things. And again, this is not advice. One of them is buy and hold gold, and we don't even know how that's going to go. The other is to learn how to trade, how to predict where price is going to go and when it's going to go there and extract money from the markets. Now we do have a free algo. Go to the link in the description. You can see me build it, see me turn it into code, and see how traders are actually connecting that to their brokerage so they can trade when they're not at the computer. Now that algo is something you would have to optimize for your own trading. It's not necessarily plug and play. It's just for you to see how it's done, and it is a free algo for you to work with. Thank you all for watching. We will be live tomorrow. That's Tuesday, 8:30 a.m. EST, and Wednesday morning at 8:30 a.m. EST. And the rest of the week, we will be off. If this is the last time we see you this week, have a lovely holiday if you're in the US or anywhere else that celebrates, and we will see you next week. Thanks for watching.